In this lesson, we're going to talk about how we can graph the inverse hyperbolic functions. So if you already know how to graph the regular hyperbolic functions, all you need to do to graph the inverse hyperbolic functions is you need to reflect the original graph across the line y equals x. So we're going to talk about how to do that. So here's a rough sketch of the regular hyperbolic sine function. To sketch the inverse of that, what we want to do is we want to draw the line y equals x. My graph is not perfect, but we'll draw a rough sketch of that. So the blue line, that's going to be the inverse hyperbolic sine function. Now the regular hyperbolic sine function, it has the domain all real numbers. The domain of the regular function becomes the range of the inverse function. So the range is going to be all real numbers. The range of the regular hyperbolic sine function is also all real numbers, and that will become the domain of the inverse hyperbolic sine function. Now let's look at another example. So let's focus on hyperbolic cosine. Hyperbolic cosine has a minimum value at y equals 1. However, it's not a one-to-one function because it doesn't pass the horizontal line test. So when we're graphing the inverse function, we're only going to plot this side of it. So notice that this has a y-intercept of 1. The inverse function will have an x-intercept of 1. Now if we were to take the inverse of this whole thing, it would look something like this. But this is not a function because it doesn't pass the vertical line test. So we're only going to take this half of it. And we can draw the line y equals x. And we can see this side is a reflection of this side across the line y equals x. So this blue curve, that is the inverse of cosine. The red curve, that is the regular hyperbolic cosine function. The domain for the hyperbolic cosine function is all real numbers, and the range, we can see the lowest y value is 1, the highest is infinity. The range of the hyperbolic cosine function becomes the domain of the inverse hyperbolic cosine function. We can see that the domain, it goes from positive 1 to infinity. Now, the range is going to be restricted because we didn't draw the entire version of this, just one half of it. So we're going to have to restrict the range. And we could see the lowest y value is 0, and this goes up to positive infinity. So it's going to be from 0 to infinity. Now let's focus on tangent. Let's draw the graph of the regular hyperbolic tangent function. And it looks like this. It's bounded between the asymptotes y equal -1 and y equal 1. So that is hyperbolic tangent. Now, to draw the inverse of that, it's important to know that the horizontal asymptotes will become vertical asymptotes. So instead of horizontal asymptotes at y equal -1 and y equal 1, we're going to get vertical asymptotes at x equals -1 and at x equals 1. So this graph is going to look like this. All of the x values have been switched with y values. So for instance, as x goes to infinity, y approaches 1. If we switch that, as y approaches infinity, x goes to 1. Now the domain for hyperbolic tangent is all real numbers, so the range for hyperbolic inverse tangent is going to be all real numbers. The range for regular hyperbolic tangent, we could see it's bounded between the two horizontal asymptotes. The domain for hyperbolic tangent will be bounded between the two vertical asymptotes, and that's going to be -1 to 1. Now let's move on to cosecant. So here is the graph for hyperbolic cosecant. In this graph, we have a horizontal asymptote at y equals 0 and a vertical asymptote at x equals 0. Because these are the same, if you were to flip them, it won't change for the inverse function. And even if you were to draw the line y equals x, if we reflect this side across the line y equals x, it will become this side. And if we reflect this side across it, it becomes that side. So for this particular graph, cosecant and inverse cosecant will have the same shape. So that is the graph for hyperbolic inverse cosecant. They have the same domain, -infinity to 0, union 0 to infinity, and they have the same range, -infinity to 0, union 0 to infinity. Now let's talk about secant. So this is the graph of hyperbolic secant. It has a domain of all real numbers and a range from 0, including 1, going 2 and including 1. Now, if we were to draw the inverse of that, if we were to flip the graph, it would look something like this. However, this function is not a one-to-one function. It doesn't pass the horizontal line test, and so this won't pass the vertical line test. Therefore, we have to restrict it to the upper half of the graph, so only this side. Notice that we have a y-intercept of 1, so here we're going to have an x-intercept of 1. So that is the graph of inverse secant. We only have this side, but as we go as x goes towards positive infinity, we could see y is approaching 0. Here it's going to flip. As y approaches positive infinity, x goes to 0. Along the y-axis, x is 0. So you can see how x and y, they're switched here. Now what can we say about the domain and range? The range goes from 0 to 1, and when we switch it, the domain will be the same. It's going from 0 to 1. And we can see it here. The lowest x value is 0, the highest is 1, but it doesn't include 0, but it does include 1. So we should have a bracket at 1. Now the range is going to be different because we don't have the entire graph, we just have half of it. So the range is going to be half of the domain. So the range is going to be 0 to infinity. That's half of this. But 0 is included. Y can be 0 right here. So we have a bracket at 0. Now, let's move on to our next one. And that is hyperbolic cotangent of x. This function has two horizontal asymptotes. This one is going to be at y equals 1 and y equals -1. This function also has a vertical asymptote at x equals 0, and it has this shape. Now, if we were to reflect this shape across the line y equals x, this side is going to look like that side. So the inverse function is going to have the same shape here. However, there are some differences. The horizontal asymptotes will become vertical asymptotes, and the vertical asymptote will become a horizontal asymptote. So because we have two horizontal asymptotes, we're going to have two vertical asymptotes. Instead of 1 and -1 for y, it's going to be 1 and -1 for x. So this one is at x equals -1. This one is at x equals +1. Now, the vertical asymptote at x equals 0 will become a horizontal asymptote at y equals 0. X and y will be switched. But now this part will be the same. So that is the graph of inverse hyperbolic cotangent. Now for cotangent, the domain is -infinity to 0, union 0 to infinity. So looking at it from left to right, all we have to do is remove the vertical asymptote. The domain for a hyperbolic cotangent will become the range for our inverse hyperbolic cotangent. So that's -infinity to 0, union 0 to infinity. So looking at the y values, all we need to remove is the horizontal asymptote y equals 0. Now the range for regular hyperbolic cotangent, we need to remove everything in the middle between the two horizontal asymptotes. So -1 to 1. So the bottom half here is going to be -infinity, and it's going to stop at -1. And the top half will continue from 1 and go to positive infinity. Now the range will become the domain for this function. It's going to be -infinity to -1, union 1 to infinity. So for the x values, here it's -infinity, and here we stop at -1, the first vertical asymptote. For the second part, we're going to start back up at +1 and go to positive infinity, as we can see here. So that's basically it for the graphs of the inverse hyperbolic functions.